So I was saying that Tomb Raider 2 was insanely tough and challenging? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the game is tough on its own, but the difficulty is nothing, absolutely nothing compared to Tomb Raider 3. Tomb Raider 3 is a whole another beast. Some of the levels are so tough and confusing that I believe that people in core design were downright sadistic by nature, and I mean it. Imagine this, the year is 1998. You have to wake up early to get your stuff packed in a bag and you get picked by a school bus. So you get to school, right? On your way you meet your friends and school colleagues so you can all have your usual little bitch fest about how life is cruel and unjust. You know, you just can't sleep properly enough because you have to wake up early. What a tragedy for a bunch of young pre-puberty kids. Oh no, school sucks and all that jazz. During the breaks between boring classes, you and the group keep rambling about stuff like sports, gossiping about other classmates, and talk about video games here and there. Suddenly, a new Tomb Raider comes as a source of everlasting lamentations about so many unsuccessful plays and tryouts. So many levels, but none of us idiots can beat Temple Ruins. What a colossal tragedy. Luckily, the gaming magazine of choice will soon hit the shelves, and by popular demand, it will have the walkthrough for the toughest Tomb Raider game ever. So better save up a few quids to buy it, run home quickly, throw the bag, enter the room that looked something like this. Open the PS1 cover, put the game in, press power, grab the controller, and there the best intro starts. Maybe this time we'll kill that 6-meter blue walking asshole, huh? What do you think? If I managed to describe your childhood a little bit, then I'm sure it was awesome. I think most of you watching this are probably born in early to mid 80s, so you perfectly know what I'm on about. Nostalgia, overdose. There is just something about that period. The gaming was in its golden age. The colors were brighter, the air was different, the climate was rather normal. Japan produced the best JDM cars ever. Sony was dominating console market with PS1. CRT Trinitron 72cm was the best and the heaviest TV to own. Only a few of us had PC, but no one cared about it. Internet was still rather unknown entity in the households. Nobody had mobile phones except business people. Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys were popular as well as Korn and Deftones. I mean, I could go on and on. These stupid nostalgia glasses made me do it, I swear. So, what happened with Tomb Raider 2? Well, nothing much apart from the insane popularity which led to gazillion sales of copies across all platforms worldwide. This just further cemented the popularity of Lara Croft that's not even funny. I do not think that even Mario or Sonic were that popular. Okay, I'm exaggerating since Super Mario is an institution by itself, but nobody could deny the potential of a new heroine. During the year 1997 and 1998, I think I'm right in saying that Lara Croft became a celebrity of sorts. She started to appear just about anywhere. Check out these commercials. I couldn't imagine being a kid and saying something like this.
But I don't even have a PlayStation.
And surely could not imagine my father responding like that.
You do now.
That's just 11 out of 10 response right there. But yeah, Lara was everywhere. Car commercials? Check. Energy drink commercials? Check. Credit card commercials? Check. Not to mention so many magazine covers and whatnot. Even Playboy. This one caused a little bit of drama back then, but overall, Lara was everywhere. A new pop culture icon on the rise. This all meant that a new sequel should be on the horizon, right? Eidos is ready for another milking while core design just wants to take a well-deserved nap for a while, but there's no sleep till sequel it is. Unfortunately, yet again, core design is about to swallow a bitter pill called "You have a year to develop a new Tomb Raider game," which seems to start taking its toll on the dev team. They needed to pull a miracle once again. That also meant that some of the planned content was going to be cut. Apparently, the start of the game was supposed to be set in Peru once again, just like in the first game, and then the story about artifacts would then unfold across the globe. But if you ask any of the ex-core design members today if that's true, they cannot remember, so we cannot clarify if that was actually true or just a rumor. But still, some of the content was scrapped or hastily put together to some degree. For example, in the old videos from 1998 when Tomb Raider 3 was being developed, you can see the animation for dagger wielding. Yep, Lara was supposed to have the capability to fight with a knife or pry out some of the items from the walls. That was scrapped because it would probably take too much time to incorporate in the game. Also, don't you find it weird that near the end of the London's level Thames Warp you can find a cathedral key? It unusually counts as a secret, but you never use it anywhere. And after the animation, Lara slips in the hole below the giant bell of St. Paul's Cathedral, but she ends up in Aldwych, which is an abandoned underground railway? That doesn't sound right. It feels like a level is missing. Maybe it's missing, but it's still accessible. How? You might already know the answer, but I will uncover it later on. Apparently, this was all a wild ride for core design. They needed to vent out some of the frustration somewhere. But where, you might ask? Well, in the game, of course. Some of the complaints about so many human enemies were probably addressed even back then, so they listened. Tomb Raider 3 had significantly less human sponges, but they opted for another option. An insane amount of deadly traps. Seriously, the game will test your patience so much that you will wonder if that's even worth it. Some levels are downright merciless, even if you expect something will happen. But the game likes to one-up you every time you think you finally got it. Don't believe me? Let's check it out, alright? Oh well, you cannot stop time. 25 years have passed since, and that means that many gallons of river Ganges have passed through India. But it feels like yesterday when I first started playing the first level in Tomb Raider 3. You know, sliding down the big slope of the jungle level and almost immediately stabbing Lara on the spikes. Young and stupid I was back then, I know. And I couldn't beat the second stage Temple Ruins for the life of me. It was so hard that I would resort to using cheats to skip levels just to see what the game has to offer besides India. I wasn't alone. Nobody I knew could beat Tomb Raider 3 without cheats or at least walkthrough. Every time in a magazine, somebody would ask a question about the game and how to beat a certain part of the level. That was our helpline back in the day. Nowadays, when I was playing it for the sake of recording this video, obviously, I could pass some of the levels with ease just because I remember them. But still, some parts of South Pacific, London and Antarctica were heavily dancing on my thin nerves. But let's put all that aside and go back home, for the third time. This time, it's gonna be a treat. Why? Well, because the famous script just got bigger and better in every single way. Now it really feels like a proper level. If you happen to wander around the library choosing what book to read, okay, you cannot read books because it's not programmed in the game. You might actually pull the hidden lever that will extinguish the fire in the fireplace. Turns up, you can climb up the chimney to uncover some secrets that will uncover even more secrets. From the attic to the cellar just to admire the fishes. Oh, what's that? A key? Who puts a key inside the aquarium? Turns out it's a racetrack key that unlocks the big racetrack for quad on the place where the garden maze used to be. Imagine having something like this at home. So cool. Old ass Winston is here once again, groaning around with the tray, following us, so there is only one solution for that. That's right. Once again, let's pop the door, lure him in, and put our favorite geezer in the freezer. While he's chilling his balls amongst the pigs and lambs, we can explore the premises even more. The outside exercise course is also updated to test all of the Lara's new moves, which is very cool, and now there's even guns involved for shooting targets at the end and... Whoa! Wait a minute. Winston? Is that you? How the hell did he get out of the freezer? And why on earth is he wearing a target on him? That's right, you can shoot him too, but he's invulnerable, so that's okay. I guess it's just a comedic relief of sorts. When it comes to the new moves, you can try out the in-house exercise room that is also updated to accommodate them. There are 3 new important moves that Lara can now perform that she couldn't in the previous games. First of all, now she can crawl. Oh yes, she can now maneuver even tighter corridors, which is more realistic and allows developers to design even better and trickier levels. By trickier I mean that sometimes it will be hard to notice that here and there some crevices are waiting for you to crawl into and discover what they hide. If you happen to be a claustrophobic person, prepare your nerves for a nice involuntary massage. Second of all, she can now use monkey bars. Some levels have the danger right on the floor beneath your feet, and you might be thinking, how am I going to pass this part of the level? Maybe all it takes is a look at the ceiling, and maybe the answer is there. Third move is the sprint. For a brief moment of time, as displayed by the orange meter, Lara can run faster than usual. That's ideal to avoid some close calls and to pass some long boring corridors faster. She can do even a flip jump at the end of the sprint. Unfortunately, if you stop sprinting with the sprint meter bar half empty, you cannot continue the sprint until the meter fills up again, which is stupid, but oh well. At least you can sprint. And sprinting will come in handy for entering yet another special room in the house. The room full of trophies and artifacts. Just pull this lever like this and run. Sprint and jump until you enter the room, so check out the goodies. Do you recognize them from the past games? Only Iris is a future reference. Also, nice T-Rex head up there, lol. Once you're done with admiring your past archaeological finds, there is not really much else you can do but to go to the fence, open it and go for an adventure.
Now it's time for our third adventure.
A classic cliché. A giant meteor gets caught up within Earth's atmosphere and gravity probably millions of years ago, hitting and obliterating flora and fauna on sight. Apparently, it hit the tropical part of Polynesia, which would, by the time of thousands of years, move and join the Antarctica territory. And that's where the present-day RX Tex organization is doing some excavations. The remnants of the meteorite should be buried under the gravel and all of the snow, so Mr. Willard and his employees want to find it. He's probably already well informed about its mystical powers through the 4 artifacts, especially if you join them all. During the digging, the machinery started to squeal because it's obvious that the drill has hit something hard. But the employees plus Willard are portrayed in this FMV animation like cartoon characters. It's obvious you need to shut the machine down if you don't want it to break, but all they do is shout like idiots and do nothing. The snowmobile scene reveals that Antarctica is actually infested with Moai statues, just like Easter Island, which would suggest that some ancient civilization was here before the Ice Age, and that they probably harnessed the power induced by the meteorite. Now this is typical Tomb Raider stuff. Alright! Willard also comes across the wooden cross with the inscription saying Paul Caulfield, 1812 to 1834, to which he concludes in his heavy Scottish accent that this place has a busy history. And I think this is where the game should have given us players more info about artifacts and why Lara is in India. In the original Tomb Raider, she was informed by Natla to go to Peru. In Tomb Raider 2, Lara was also informed to go to the Venice. But in this game, I cannot see any plot device suggesting as to why we need to go to India. Oh well, I guess it doesn't matter now. So, we are in India. First level jungle is a nice introduction to the game. It's not hard, but it has a few gimmicks here and there that will raise your eyebrows. Overall, a nice experience. Just don't try to walk over this mud or quicksand or whatever, or you'll have a bad time. Gone are the swarms of human enemies in favor of animal ones decently scattered throughout the level, which is a nice change. We are back to Tomb Raiding, baby! You know, something that was kinda lost in Tomb Raider 2. In the jungle, running amongst the woods, rivers and some old ruins, the feeling is back, baby! The feeling is back. Did you know that you do not need to kill monkeys? They're not a threat to you. Look at this one. It grabbed a small medipack and it's kinda guiding me as where to go. I'm sure people at Core Design spent a decent amount of time programming the monkey AI for just about nobody to recognize it. Everybody was shooting them on sight. What a shame. I found out about this last year or so I'm guilty of the same malpractice as well. Just by looking around, you can notice that the graphics are better and the engine is updated to use triangular polygons instead of rectangular ones. This calls for more complex terrain design, not to mention more realistic one. You will see by some of the footage that it will help make some of the levels look really gorgeous. And now, you will immediately notice something else that will piss you off. Perhaps. The old arch nemesis is back. Stupid save game crystals are making an infamous return. However, unlike Tomb Raider 1, they are not in a fixed position, but can be collected as an item and used from your inventory backpack whenever you feel like saving. So it's kinda a hybrid between saving anywhere but with a limited amount of time. The saving game position spends crystals, so you need to collect more of them in order to save again. And here we have a crucial problem that amplified the difficulty of this game by a lot, and I mean a lot. Each level has between 5 to 7 crystals, my rough estimate, so the ability to save is already very scarce, especially on the aforementioned difficult levels. But it's not even enough. Save game crystals are often hidden in tough places or put as a secret. This makes them easily missable, which is a bad game design if you ask me. Tomb Raider 1 had crystals on logical points of the level. They were acting like checkpoints and you wouldn't miss them 99% of the time. But in Tomb Raider 3, core design said, fuck it, work for it, suffer. And you would think, okay, just explore the levels thoroughly and collect them. In essence, you'd be right, but in reality searching for secrets can be very tough and very deadly. And since you have so few crystals, you have a few chances to save the game, which means you'll need to pass a big chunk of the levels without dying. Do you see where I'm getting at? And if you die, tough luck, my friend. This game wants to toy with you when it comes to hidden dangers and traps. Don't believe me? Let's carry on. After beating Jungle, here comes the first in-game animation in which Lara meets this lunatic. "What do you want from me now?" called Tony.
What? What do you want from me now?
He and his two colleagues are searching for this Infada stone artifact. So I guess it's gonna be a race of who gets it first. His weird behavior and gained powers later on is explained to be direct consequence of being under the influence of an artifact. Which actually begs the question, was Lara also under the artifact influence at any point of the game, or maybe there are iceberg theories buried somewhere in the depths of the internet about that subject. But for now, let's go to the Temple Ruins. Temple Ruins is the level that wants to chew you and spit you out. You will already encounter cobras in the bushes that will show you Lara's new ability. Yeah, let's call it that. Ability to get poisoned. Yep. Yellow blinking of the health bar suggests slow depletion of energy, which can only be salvaged by using medipacks. So you naturally don't die from poisoning, yes. Well, it's not really a big problem when you start to pay attention to the environment, but every little bush will leave you wondering if the snake is hiding or not. Nevertheless, the things in the level take a spike in difficulty when you actually enter the ruins. When you grow up, sort of, like me, you realize that 6-symmeter blue bastard is not really that hard to deal with. As you can see, you can always use this method right here to exploit his AI capabilities, even if you don't use this tactic. The blue Shiva is not that hard to beat. What is hard is the inclusion of traps. Tomb Raider 3 really has so many traps Indiana Jones style that will put your blood to a boil. Check out these spiked walls coupled with slicers coming out of nowhere. Or maybe this spiked ceiling. Not convinced? How about an underwater current pushing you to a spiked walls? Seems to be that we have a spike fetishism all around. Oh yeah, I forgot. Why don't we throw in a collapsible ceiling coupled with mud here and there, or a boulder threat from behind? Yes, and put more 6-symmeter baddies just for fun. This is all Temple Ruins. To ease out on a sudden difficulty, the river Ganges is here. Insane Tony is just casually drifting on the river on a raft while Lara tries to shoot him. Little did she know that he's so corrupted by the power or the artifact that he can cause a little earthquake by the slight wave of the hands. Luckily, Lara is quick to evade the big boulders while this psychopath laughs hysterically. Just when she is about to chase him, there is a green little quad bike waiting for a ride. If you did your homework at home, you know how a quad bike behaves. Just don't even try to touch a single drop of water with the vehicle. Because water is explosive, as you can see. It's not really a hard level to beat, because half of the work, like opening the gates, requires footwork. Not a big deal. Big waterfall at the end revealed a broken raft, but Tony is nowhere to be seen. I guess the lucky bastard survived, so it's time to get him. Caves of Kalia is the last level in India and it acts like a maze. It's not really hard to get where you need to go, but if you cannot make it, just use the technique of following the left or right wall, no matter how tedious that can be. You will eventually reach this dark hole, but beware. It's full of snakes, and as you run through them in the pitch black, the obligatory boulder will try to crush you. This is real Indiana Jones moment right there. And then there's Tony acting like a big boss trying to burn you into a crisp. Nothing that trusted guns and a bit of jumping won't solve. See? Oh, there's the Infada stone and the grenade launcher. Nice. So, Lara's got an artifact. Now what? We need another plot device to continue the adventure. There comes the FMV animation where Dr. Wheeler comes on a boat and explains to Lara all about the artifact she just got and that there's more of them scattered around the globe. Take a wild guess who's there to collect them. So, like I mentioned earlier, Tomb Raider 3 was supposed to be somewhat non-linear by design. Levels like the river Ganges or maybe Lutz Gate offer two or several ways to traverse them. But the main element of non-linearity was the inclusion of this globe and choosing the next destination. South Pacific Islands, London or Nevada. Yes, every time you finish one of the destinations, this globe will appear and the ability to choose the next one. But guess what, there's a catch. This just wouldn't be a proper Tomb Raider if it doesn't set you a nice little trap. You would think that it doesn't matter which destination you choose, but it does. See, there's a little level called High Security Compound in which MP soldiers take away all of your weapons and most of the possessions from the inventory. You would think, oh well, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna pass the level and eventually retrieve what's been taken from me. Except you won't. The sadistic people from Core Design want to bitch slap you again by not giving everything back. If you manage to collect all of the weapons prior to the level will give you back your guns and Desert Eagle. And that's it. Tough luck. So, always pick Nevada levels first. On the next destinations you will collect all of the weapons again, unless you don't give a crap and you are up to some additional challenge. In that case, kindly disregard what I've just said, you utter masochist, and have fun destroying and wrecking your controllers or whatnot. The Nevada desert is such a pretty level. Just look at it. There's something about going into the pretty landscape doing some platforming. Check out this lake-filled canyon. It's just you and nature waiting to be discovered. These are the parts of the game that I truly like. The lightning effects of the water were very much improved over the last game, so it all looks good. Just check it out. This level has a lot of going on actually. You have the aforementioned canyon, a big dam for altering the current of the water, obligatory blow-up of the environment with a detonator, working compounds obscured by electrical fences, and even a bit of quad biking. Pretty busy stuff. And this is the moment right here that I was talking about earlier. Goodbye weapons, hello stealth mode. Yes, even Tomb Raider wasn't immune from the new trends in the gaming industry, closely followed by Metal Gear Solid and the likes. So in High Security Compound, for the better part of the level, you are without weapons. The only way to get rid of the guards is to lure them to your cell inmates. Their deadly fists will do the talking. And there he goes down. But this is not really stealth. The next footage is. No really, check out this section right here. You need to crawl to be out of sight of this guard or you'll have a bad time. If you observe his walking pattern, it's easy to maneuver Lara behind the counter to the switch. Of course that wouldn't be me if I wouldn't screw that up at the end so he spotted me. But there's a trusty red laser that eliminated him for me. What a laughable moment. I even managed to stun one of the enemies right here. Check him out. For some unknown reason, his AI capabilities came into a halt and he's just watching Lara. So amusing. Anyways, this way of playing is carried on to the next level, Area 51. In one of my oldest videos, I was rambling about how it's the best one in the game. Well, to be honest, all of that stems from my memories playing a demo version of the same level. Actually, it's not the same, it's slightly altered, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure it was because my nostalgia radiation corrupted my brain cells, so I made a video like that. I still love it to this day, but I know it's not a classic Tomb Raider level. However, Area 51 still preserves this awesome industrial high-tech atmosphere while you dwell in the underground hallways of the top secret organization looking for clues as to where the artifact might be. Since you have some of the weapons back, you can ditch stealth tendencies and shoot everything that moves. Except these fellow inmates, they're cool. And they have deadly arms, just check it out again. Yeah. The level is filled with usual stuff like trip lasers, guns, crawling in ventilation ducts, security cameras, UFOs, and even a giant rocket. I just love the fact that you need to launch a rocket just to lower a platform so you can progress further in the game. What? We have launched a nuke that obliterated half of the city just to lower a damn platform? Oh, never mind, I hated that platform anyway. Such an absurd occurrence that is, but that's your typical Tomb Raider. While I'm here, levels like these two and also the London ones amplify this insanely low brightness. The colors and contrast are really good, but it's all too dark. Even if I turn the brightness to 100% on my screen, it's still not enough in some scenes, so I resort to using flares. Especially if I go underwater, and this is only done in the PS1 version of the game. The PC version on the other hand is brighter by design, but in color department it's slightly dull. Since I'm playing the PS1 version of the game, brightness is 100% and I'm playing in the dark. There is no other way, lol. Check out this beach in level coastal village. It looks so gorgeous it makes you wanna swim around and dive forever. Screw the rest of the level. I just wanna be here forever. These South Pacific islands, just like India, have this classic Tomb Raider feeling. You're in some god-forsaken obscure place snooping around temples and ruins for a little artifact. Of course, tribe people are not very welcoming towards you. How dare you usurp their existence? How dare you run around their village? Maybe they see Lara as a nice dinner since they, have cannibalistic tendencies. Since you have such a remote location on the world map for exploration, you know what needs to be included? No? Plenty of red raptors running around just like the original Tomb Raider. And when you have raptors, you know what that means. An obligatory T-Rex moment. This one is like a big ass sponge. It can take a lot of bullets before kicking the eternal dust. Come on, just die already. Crash Site has this mad over-the-top segment where you need to step behind this cannon and launch rockets into the swarm of red raptors. How awesome or unnecessary is that? Imagine the dying faces of despair at Greenpeace offices once they find out that supposed extinct dinosaur species from 65 million years ago was actually still alive on some remote island, only to be ultimately blown into pieces by none other than Lara Croft. Yeah, you might blow up some of the ally NPCs accidentally, but what can you do? The next level, Madubo Gorge, in my opinion, is the level where the overall difficulty of the Tomb Raider as a whole goes steadily up. Lara gets to use everybody's least favorite transportation device in the game. That's right, the infamous kayak. As far as I know, some of you have said that it's one of the hardest levels in the game. I know, the gameplay of the kayak is non-existent at best and you can only pray to receive the least damage possible when you go over the waterfalls, but once you get out of it to do the platforming section that uses more than half of the level, it's not that hard to play. I mean, of course there needs to be some traps here and there like this multi-boulder attack, because it's Tomb Raider, but other than that it's fairly simple level. Also, welcome rocket launcher, yeah baby! Temple of Puna is a short level, but it's filled with traps which are relatively easy to grasp. The only dangerous moment is this big 2 boulders section where you need to sprint away. The sideways camera can be an enemy sometimes though. Also, beware of these assholes with poison darts. The boss fight against Puna can be tricky. It's easy to avoid his instant kill electrical attacks, but it can be messy trying to avoid being poisoned by suddenly summoned lizards. And now, London. This is where I became mentally defiled. First of all, Thames Wharf. See this big underwater fan? Naturally, you touch it and you color the water into the pool of red. Typical Tomb Raider trap. But how are you supposed to know that one of the switches slows it down a bit so you can pass it? There is not a single hint to tell you that you can actually pass through a fan other than slightly slower rotation of it. But that's downright cryptic if you ask me. In one moment I was so pissed about that I finished the level this way. You jump and go all the way here where you can approach this slope, right? You are not supposed to climb it or you will slide to your death. But if you do it and immediately jump for a slope to the left, you will end up on the building like so. Jump down to the similar looking building and there you go. The finish of the level is in front of you. You just need to trigger the cutscene. 30-second job. Take that, you stupid level. And then, there comes this infamous Aldwych level. Under the wrap of the great atmosphere of the dystopian underworld filled with sinister stalkers and running subways comes one of the toughest levels in every sense you can imagine. The level itself is designed almost like a giant maze where you really need to pay attention to where you are going and what you need to do or you'll get lost. Even then, you'll get stuck more often than not. Check out this old coin. Nothing suggests that it will come out of this vending machine after you turn on the electricity. Okay, never mind. You find it and collect it. But now, what with it? See these boots? You are supposed to use it there to buy a ticket. But again, nothing gives you any clue that you should do it. Even if you do, you are supposed to choose only one correct boot. And they are all the same. If you try the wrong ones, you might give up and think this is not a correct way to go and spend ages aimlessly wandering around and wondering what did you miss. Let's throw some more bitch fest into the pot. Check out this big ass drill above you. It conveniently starts as you go down, but this entire section is one colossal trap. You're supposed to know it and react fast not to kill yourself like this. And like this. And like this. There is no way you can do it by skill. Only by trial and error you figure out the way to descend without dying. And that is just obnoxious and unfair. What about this Illuminati Mason section or whatever? I can wait through this artificially prolonging the level door maze part just fine, but here comes the stupidity. So, in this room you are supposed to find a star, a crucial item. But where is it? See this curtain that is slightly longer than the rest? You are supposed to jump across spikes through that curtain to get a star. How the fuck was I supposed to figure that out? Not even 90% of the secrets in this game are so stupidly obscured. Practically nothing gives you a solid hint that something is behind these curtains, but even if it is, you would think that you would need to remove the curtains in order to reach the platform behind it, not just jump through it. If you manage to beat Aldwych, I salute you. But there goes another disaster called Lud's Gate. The first part of the level where you need to obtain the embalming fluid in the National History Museum is fine, but that god-awful underwater section. The water texture is dark, so it's hard to see, so you need to use a lot of flares or resort using this yellow underwater vehicle. On top of that, there are many divers and only 1 or 2 spots to catch breath among so many flooded rooms. The sheer size and tediousness of that part of the level will piss you off, and you will drown a lot of times. I think Lud's Gate is one of the longest levels in the game just because of that. In contrast, the last London level is very short but sweet. Try to avoid Sophia's attacks while you and her run and climb up the buildings. All of that just for some electrocution. Easy and clever. Just don't be an idiot like me and try to electrocute yourself. After you collect all 4 artifacts, the globe will now point to the Antarctica, the final 4 levels. Lara is now better dressed for the occasion, unlike in Tibetan foothills in Tomb Raider 2. But this time, she developed a new ability, to get cold and die by freezing. Jump into the water and this additional red-blue meter will show up and start to rapidly decrease. Just like in real life, being in water so cold will freeze you almost instantaneously. As you would imagine, Antarctica is tough. The first level, not so much. But in RX Tech Mines, you will soon discover how deadly these mining carts can be. Ride too fast, the centrifugal gravity will kill you. Ride too slow, and you might end up in the ditch and die. Fail to hit the switch to switch the rails, you might end up in the wall and die properly. The level is filled with these poisonous and these creepy fast mutants just to spice things up. For help, these are the flamethrower personnel that will gladly burn them to a crisp for you. You know this wouldn't be it without some hard sections. Once again, Tomb Raider 3 is here to send you a one-way ticket to Sanatorium. Check out these diving sections right here. It's long and insane as fuck. When the game offers you these medipacks on each subsection, you know it's tough. I think it's downright impossible to cross it without freezing and losing energy. I couldn't do it even if I knew perfectly where to go. The game just wants to shake your feelings just before you reach the semi-final level. Lost City of Tinos. Now, this is once again a proper Tomb Raider level. Big, ancient underground ruins of a city of yesteryear. But the joy will quickly subside as you realize that this one is probably the toughest level in the entire game. It's cryptic alright, and full of deadly sections accompanied with these annoying big green fireflies. They're easy to kill, but they just keep coming. The level has these elemental trials that will put you to the final stress test to collect all 4 masks. Once again, most of them are filled with unsuspecting ridiculous traps ready to kill you, so it's all trial and error because there is no way of knowing what to expect. For example, you just need to try this quicksand a few times to figure out the safest route. Sometimes the falling rocks will drop on you and kill you. This fire pillar section has a map, but even then I was testing which ones are safe. Water section with these rotational slicers is just an insufferable moment. I can go on and on. If you manage to beat it, I must congratulate you again. You have the nerves of steel. At last, there is this traitor Willard. He stole the artifacts from Lara before mines because he's like Natla. He wants to speed up the evolution of humanity by using meteorite powers and shady tactics. Well, he did evolve himself alright. He looks like a big, gross mutant like Tarantula. Couldn't evolution bring nice bodies as opposed to this ugly, vulgar, grotesque mass of a living mess that can give you only nightmares? Anyways, he's deadly as fuck, as he has an instant kill lightning strike and he's moving fast. Luckily, a few shots of Desert Eagle can stun him for a brief moment of time. Just enough to steal one of the artifacts. Rinse and repeat 3 more times, shoot him for the final time and he goes away. The battle itself is not that hard, but the level layout makes precision runs around the center a priority, otherwise you might get up in a ditch and die. After the kill, climb up, kill some of his personnel, get to the chopper! And that's it. When you look at Tomb Raider 3 as a whole, you really get a big, robust package full of gorgeous adventure heavily drenched in frustration, desperation, and sometimes disbelief. For every desired Tomb Raider moment when everything is nicely put together and it's worth playing the game, there comes the insidious arsenal of terrors in the forms of unbelievable traps and hard parts. When you look at some of this footage and you are old enough to appreciate the visuals since you know that it's the year 1998, you must admit that the graphics are really good in this game. Jungle level, coastal village, Nevada desert, Madubu Gorge, Antarctica. Every level looks so good. Much better than anything from the first 2 games. These are the levels that evoke that Tomb Raider feeling. You know the drill. I mean ingredients. Lara, environment, flora and fauna, temples, ruins, traps, atmosphere, items, artifacts. Put them in a blender and voila! Even the musical numbers are good. Here and there, the music will start to play and it's usually triggered in the good spots of every level. Atmospheric sounds are also very good. Rain, slight wind and occasional sound from distant animals in India really makes you think you're in the jungle, while haunting echoes from the remnants of the old can engrave the sense of desolation into your mind. After Tomb Raider 2's lateral expansion that I labeled cruelly as a sequel syndrome, Tomb Raider 3 was supposed to be a return to form. Was it a successful return or a failure? Well, it's kind of complicated. It was soon evident that the action-oriented approach ain't gonna cut it, so core design retreated to do the proper experience. At least they tried. Increased difficulty via numerous unforgiving traps and limited save system, at least in PS1 version, frustrated everybody. It's like every 2 feet there is a death trap waiting for you, so the progression of the levels often looks like a harrowing display of eternal trial and error. It's just not fun. It breaks the gaming experience and your will to play. Even to this day, I would have to resort to using walkthroughs on some of the tougher levels, which says a lot. Also, Tomb Raider 3 was not deprived of jumping onto certain trends. Yes, I'm talking about stealth tendencies. Even though I love Nevada levels, I cannot deny that they are far from proper Tomb Raider experience. To be realistic, Lara's moveset and overall gameplay is not really suited for stealth. It feels clunky, so it's easier just to kill the guards. I think I forgot something. Oh yeah, I was talking about the missing level that is somehow accessible way back at the beginning of the video. That's right, you can unlock a secret level called All Hallows that resembles the St. Paul's Cathedral. It looks like that level belongs between Thames Wharf and Aldwych, but I guess core design didn't have the time to finish it, so they offered it as a bonus. But let me tell you this, it's nearly impossible to obtain that level. You have to collect every secret in the entire game. All 59 secrets. And it's just so easy to miss some of them, believe me. The level is mostly finished and relatively easy, so if you want it, just use the cheats for all the secrets. Just like I did. You can also notice that the items are not sprites anymore, but 3D polygonal objects now. However, under certain circumstances, they are so hard to spot in the environment. In the shadows and dark places, you can sometimes so easily miss them. And when you collect them, they're not displayed on the lower right part of the screen like in the previous games. I don't understand why. Sometimes it's hard to see what you've collected, so you need to enter the inventory and see what it is. Oh well. So, when you finally wrap all this up, how was the reception of the game? Well, under the insane marketing campaign as seen at the beginning of the video, it was evident that the game will sell well. Multi-million sales were guaranteed, but I guess the players were frustrated as well as some of the critics by the sheer difficulty of the game. Some of them even accused the game to be deliberately so hard that everybody would buy strategy guides. Like the entire game would be a marketing ad for the guide. When I think about it now, it's kinda crazy, but I can understand the standpoint. Like I said earlier, everybody back then bought the magazines that would contain the walkthroughs of the game because nobody I knew could beat it by skill and knowledge. But then, there comes nostalgia, a really big factor that prevents me from hating these albeit huge shortcomings of the Tomb Raider 3. It's just the type of the game that I would return to every so often to play, because it's the classic Tomb Raider with grid controls that I like. I like it better than Tomb Raider 2, but the game is not for newcomers. It will kick your nuts and leave you crying on the floor gasping for mercy. It's better to chronologically play the games to get a feeling with each installment. Well, it's finally time to finish this. I really got carried away with this one, right? I'm sorry for that, but I hope you have enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment so we can interact, and subscribe for more of the similar content. And until next time, kanpai!